Hello everyone and welcome to Cosplayers for Christ, where we don't post anything. But no, seriously, welcome. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching this video. Yes, I don't post a lot. I actually have another YouTube channel. I am an author and I have all the crazy life. And in all honesty, I didn't really know exactly what I was going to do on this channel. Like I knew, but I didn't know how to execute it. So, yeah. But we are back. We are better than ever. We meaning just me. Hey, so one day I will have an awesome full team on this. That'd be great. But we're not here for me to ramble about random things. We're here for me to ramble about Naka Kon 2019 and how awesome or how terrible it was. So let's get into me roasting it, me reviewing it. Oh yeah. So like I said, I went to Naka Kon 2019 and let me just look how pretty that badge is. Oh my goodness. And the cool part is that behind it, it tells you exactly, you know, the year, everything like that, some of the rules, or at least what the badge is used for, like what it can get you into. Lost badges, which I think is funny that the lost badge thing is on the badge itself, because if you lose it, I guess you're screwed. And then their dates for next year. And then these two things right here, which actually when I was being registered, they grabbed this, they put it in a thing, go beep, and then it's registered just to me. The name I actually had to put on. I was trying to avoid the Naka, but there's not enough room to write your name anywhere. So, but anyways, that's coming up and all that. It's really pretty artwork. I actually have mine here from 2017, and as you can see, they're using like the same or similar artist, which is actually pretty kind of cool. Oh wait, I think that's the baby. Aww. I do know that there is a story that goes along with the Naka Kon person in this book. This is their, like, you know, just whole panel thing, like what's going on at Naka Kon type book with like rules and stuff like that. And like right in the middle, let's see if I can find it. Yeah, right in the middle, there's actually a comic book that goes along with their characters that they have on their badges and all that. So there's like some lore behind it, which is really cool. I love that. It's sweet. It's awesome. So this year, like many years before, Naka Kon was held at the Overland Park Convention Center in Overland Park, Kansas, which is just outside of Kansas City, on March 15th through 17th, 2019. So a 3-day con, pretty sweet, pretty cool. And like its name suggests, it like hits right in the middle audience-wise. You know, there's not like, it's not a huge con like A-Kon or like San Japan, and it's not a really small con like some of the ones I've been to. It fits right in the middle. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure they called it Naka Kon because it lands right in the middle of the continental US. So before I dive into this review, I just want to tell you all how I kind of figured out like the rating versus, you know, what I looked at and all that. I have volunteered at conventions before, ever since I was about 13, 14, but I have been to a lot of cons, and I just love seeing like all the good parts of cons. And when I see something that's not like, not necessarily not right, but you know, that's not perfect, that can be fixed or changed or, you know, maybe tweaked a little bit, I always love giving some insight of what I've seen at other cons. Because you never know who's actually been to a lot of cons before. Maybe they've only been to a few, and they're like, hey, these things work, so I'm going to put this in my con. But whether or not my advice is taken is, you know, completely up to the con people and all that. And hey, it may not work for this specific con, you know, since it's in the middle of the country, it's in totally different state than a lot of other cons I've been to. And, you know, you never know how the con center and the hotel work with the actual convention itself. So a lot of factors come up, and you never know the stories behind things until they're told. Nevertheless, each and every con is not perfect. Even my favorite con of all time isn't perfect. There's always something wrong with it. That doesn't mean the con itself is bad, though. It could mean that, hey, maybe we need to fix this next year, or maybe we just need to, like, not do that at all. Or maybe, you know, there was something that came up spontaneously in the moment that kind of messed it up. And hopefully next year we can, like, avoid that altogether. Yay, spontaneousness. So before I dive into the things that I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to talk to you all about the things that I thought were really freaking cool about this con. One, The registration. The registration was awesome. It took me about 5 minutes to get my badge. That is so cool. I love it when I can go in and be like, oh no, there's a long line, and then 5 minutes later be like, oh, well, that was easy. Huh. I will say that I did go to get my badge on early Friday morning. I'm pretty sure about 10:30 I went to get my badge. I asked my friends who went there as well, and someone got their badge like later in the day on Friday, and it only took her about 5 minutes. And the other person, she got her badge on Thursday night, which is really cool that they offer that. And it only took her about like not even a minute. Like she was in and out, like poof, there. So that was really cool. I like that. Like for medium-sized cons, if it only takes at max an hour, that's pretty good. So, and it seems from what I've heard from people and all that, it only took like maybe max an hour for them to get their badge. It wasn't too hefty of a deal. So that part is freaking awesome. I love that. Get them in and out. How they set up their registration is really cool as well. You know, they had everyone separated. They had will call. They had people paying at the door. They had groups in a different section, which is really nice because sometimes groups, like everyone comes. So they had that all set up. And they had little spaces for each and every one, you know. It's kind of like going to Walmart and seeing multiple checkouts. That's pretty much what they had at this con. Really beautiful, really nice. I love it. Another thing that was really cool was the weapons check. It was right in with registration, but it was off to the side, so if you didn't have to deal with this huge crowd of people getting their badges, you could just go whoop and get your weapons checked. One of my friends, she had 3 Zorro swords she was getting checked. All of them wood, of course. And it was really nice that people looked at them. You know, they didn't go, oh my gosh, this is... No, they did not use them. Really awesome. They just opened them, made sure they were actual wood and not steel, closed them, and put the little tag on. They even asked my friend where she wanted the little tag, which was great. Some cons, they just put it on the most obvious place and just leave it, but that could actually hurt the weapon, and, you know, that's really not nice. And there were 2 people there at the table, so that was cool, because she had 3 swords, so one of them took 1, and the other one took 2. So, easy peasy lemon squeezy, oh yes. Another thing that they had at the table was orange tape for fake guns. So even though it's annoying to have orange tape on your nicely beautiful fake gun that you're going to use as a prop and prop only, because, you know, of course it doesn't work. It's made out of plastic, like it couldn't work type thing. It is annoying, but it's for the safety of others. So, you know, that's not the con's fault, that's just life itself. And for the fact that they did have orange tape, instead of just telling people, well, too bad, you're gonna have to go, they had something there just in case. I love that. Preparedness is awesome. Another thing I really liked is the variety of panels. There were so many panels. It was great. I only went to a few myself because, you know, I only like a certain part. But there was a handful enough where I'm like, hey, this is really awesome. There's something for me. In fact, as you can see, there were a lot of panels Friday, a lot Sunday, and a lot Saturday. Let me push. Whoa. It was really cool. One of my favorites was the Gun and Wing panel. The other one was Japan America panel, and I know it wasn't called that, but that's like the one key I remember from that panel. I can't remember the title, but I remember that, so forgive me. They were both guest panels, which was really awesome. There were actually a lot of guest panels at this con compared to other ones I've been to, so that's really cool. You know, you're paying these people to come and do autographs and to be seen. It's really nice that you were also able to have them, like, just talk about their lives and all of that. Another great part was the Artist Alley and Vendor Room. Now, the place that they did have it, the Overland Park Convention Center, had this huge room. Like, just, if you took everything out of it, it would just be, like, freaking huge for anything, any of your needs. So what they did was they actually took the registration part and separated it by, like, a fake border all the way around, right? And then the rest was used for a sitting area here and the Artist and Vendor Alley here, over here. So it was really nice. I loved it. I loved how the artists were able to, like, you know, keep their stuff at their tables and not have to worry about locking up at night or taking everything down and rolling it away. Some conventions, They had their artists like in the hallway where the artists would go, cool, yay, I have to take everything down and then put it up in the morning where no one steals my crap. It was really nice too because it was super huge and expansive. There seemed like to be miles of just merchandise of awesome anime stuff and even stuff that I haven't seen in a while, like Lolita and, you know, just really cutesy things too. Another cool part is that they were able to utilize the refreshment areas in the vendor artist alley room. Now, there were two refreshments. There were some over here and some over here by the, like, sitting area. And I'm pretty sure it wasn't Naka Kon that had people working. I'm pretty sure it was the convention center itself. But it was nice that they were actually able to use them and for attendees like me to get food there. Because food in the hotel, the Sheraton, was kind of expensive compared to this as far as I know. And for the fact that there was really no food areas around. The closest place was like a Panera Bread, but you would have to drive all the way down the road to go get it instead of just like walking there, eating, and then walking back. And it was really nice because I paid about $6.25 for a hamburger and fries, but the hamburger was like this big. I couldn't even finish it. It was nice though for the price. Like if I'm gonna pay $6.25 on a burger, I want stuff. Actually, it would be more expensive for me to go to Sonic than to get this burger, and I'm pretty sure this burger was, I don't know, it tasted so much better than Sonic could even give me. So that's perfect. I love it. One of the things I really didn't like was the pricing of the sodas. It was like $2.75 for a regular. I'm like, oh my goodness. But after seeing the size, it was about like that in a tall, slender glass. And for the fact that you could go and get free refills, it made the price even better. So another plus, I love it. Talking about food, they did have little food eatery areas around the con where you didn't have to go to the vendor artist alley room and you didn't have to go specifically to the bar in the Sheraton. So there were other places where they're like, hey, you can buy some food here. And I know that these weren't necessarily done by the convention, but the fact that the con center and the hotel worked with the convention to get these areas up and running during the time was really nice. It was great. It was like, hey, they're actually, you know, thinking about the attendees. And of course, it's an extra way to make money, but, you know, I don't have to go get in my car, drive all the way to some place for food each and every day, drive all the way back, hopefully find a spot if no one's stolen it because I was in the hotel. One of the things I did like is the fact that I get paid to do a panel. Oh yeah? They reimbursed me $15 for each panel hour I did. I did do only one, the Parents Anime Guide. So, you know, and they put it in this envelope. Yeah. I actually got the money out, so this envelope's pretty much empty. But I wanted to show you all. It was really cool. I did have to wait till Sunday to get it. However, they did have options for people who were like, hey, I need to go now on Saturday. You know, they could always just get their money and, you know, go and all that. So one thing I didn't like about running a panel at this convention is that I didn't get notice of when my panel would actually be until I was at the con itself. So, you know, thankfully I didn't make too many plans with other people or else I would have been screwed. But I was notified like maybe 4 weeks before the con. I want to say 4 or 5 weeks before the con that my panel was accepted. And my panel was at 10 a.m. on Saturday. Pretty decent hour. That is when everyone's waking up. That's a personal thing on me though. You know, next time I'll be like, hey, maybe I want this time instead. So, but that's a me thing. But it was still at a pretty decent hour, still in a really nice big room. So I loved it. It was good. Now on to the things that were kind of like, or like, really, for this con. One of the things I thought was interesting for this con was this. It's like a mini newspaper, and it's pretty cool. They had like important locations and times over here. They had, you know, event tickets right there. The guests, some of the speaking guests and all that. And on the inside, they had, you know, more of this, people who, you know, were there, autographs when they would be taking place. And then they had this, which was the full, complete schedule of panels for each and all of the rooms. And what's really cool, before I rip into it, what's really cool is that it tells you where the panels were, whether they were in the convention center or the Sheraton Hotel, and which area of each place they were at. and the Courtyard Marriott. The Courtyard Marriott was the hotel I stayed at, and that's where the May cafes and the, I'm pretty sure all the food eatery things were at. So, another thing before I rip into it, I thought it was really neat how they did have the vendor hours here and access control and the attendee services. You know, they had the times there. And also, like, each of these little things, these little triangles mean something. The explanation point meant an event includes a guest of honor, though it did not say which guest of honor there was. I mean, you could have at least included it, like saying with, you know, so-and-so. Also, the yen sign said a ticketed event, see your program book for more information. And 18 plus, age restricted event, 18 plus badge, and 18 plus wristband required. So, in all honesty, it's a really good idea. I do like that. It does save on paper because there's only 2 bits. But also, there was this. The Inari update, you know, even more autographs. Oops. This is the only oops you find. So if you did not pick up this specific, you know, this specific paper, you would not know this. It says, oops, we made a couple of mistakes in the program book and on the schedule. Con Ops and Attendee Services. Con Ops is located in Linden on the Sheraton's lower level. Attendee Services is located in Birch on the Sheraton's lobby level. Schedule updates are on the back of this update. So, you know, it tells you. But after picking up this and picking up this, a really cool book, like, why would you pick up this? You know, not everyone picks this up. Not everyone does that. So, it's kind of really, like, seriously? So it's cool that they did this. It's cool that they updated it. But it's, not everyone's going to get this. Now, I don't know specifically why things went wrong with the actual panel stuff. I don't know why this was wrong. I don't know if anyone just went up and I'm not going to do the panel, or if someone gets sick, or if it was just a mess up and miscommunication. But it's really annoying to have to pick up multiple pieces of paper just to figure out when a panel is and if the panel that you wanted to see was that. So, like, one of the things I wanted to do was the Iron Fic contest. I didn't necessarily want to enter it because I do publish books, so I thought that was going to be like, but I did want to actually be in there and write and, you know, just push myself a little bit more and give myself, like, a cool thing to do because I'm a writer. But, see, here it says 7:30 p.m. Originally, it was supposed to be at 4. I didn't actually see this or read this until later. And I'm like, oh, well, cool. At 7:30, I was out with my friends eating. You know, that was Friday, right? Yeah, Friday. So I was out with my friends eating. So, yeah, I totally, completely missed it. In fact, I ran all the way through the hotel and through the con center to get right where the Iron Fit contest was supposed to be at 4. I was like, cool, I'm there. I look in, I'm like, wait, this looks weird. And then I look on the little digital, you know, calendar thing, and it said, it's like, oh, 7:30. So I learned about the change from the little updated program thing and not this. So that's kind of crap. Later on, I realized that there was a guidebook, which I do remember actually seeing the, hey, you can see our event schedule on the guidebook. Because I didn't see this, I was not informed of any schedule changes until after. So it's kind of sad. And then the guidebook itself is another thing. This one, I don't know. Like, they could have used it so much better. One of the things that they did was put the entire scheduling correctly, you know, on there. Awesome. Another thing they did was they put, you know, all the rules and regulations and all that. Hey y'all, this is Post-Editing Liz here, and I was just about to get into a rant of how I could not find any of the venue maps on the actual app. However, when I was making this video, I did find them, and that is awesome. I do still have a problem with it though, considering that you would actually have to go through all these little bits just to get to the venue map. And then if you did not have any mobile data, or if you didn't have Wi-Fi at that time, you wouldn't be able to see the maps. So I do still find this a problem, but it's not for the original reason I thought. The best way to solve this is to actually upload images of the maps to the app. This has been done by many other conventions I've gone to, and it works perfectly. Anyways, back to the review. So there's many things going on. Instead of putting this in here and just having it all in one space, and then, you know, I can understand that, okay? But still. Or instead of having it all on the guidebook, you know, it was pretty much everywhere. Another thing that I saw that was really kind of iffy about this con was the gender fluid bathrooms. Now, the bathrooms themselves of the con center and the hotel were male-female, you know. Men or women, go in one, basically, right? I think there was a family bathroom somewhere, but I'm not too sure. And then someone of the con put up these pictures that said, oh, this is a gender fluid bathroom now. Since we're taking over, we're going to make it mandatory. Now, I don't know if this is actually legal or not in Kansas, but it was kind of unnerving. I don't want to go in the bathroom and see a man. I'm sorry. When I go in the bathroom, especially when I have a full garb of cosplay on, I want to not have to worry about potentially a person, you know, seeing or doing anything. That was, yeah, it was very unnerving. I didn't like it at all. It made me very uncomfortable to even, like, you know, when I had to pee, I either had to go back to my room, which was across the way because I was in the Marriott, or I just had to hunt down the only women's bathroom that I found that did not have the gender fluid sign on it. So yeah, maybe think about that. Maybe have one or two, but not all of them, you know? Seriously. And I was even in one part of the hotel where, you know, the panels were taking place, and I went all the way back down and around to the con center just to go to the bathroom once because there were gender fluid bathrooms everywhere. And even after the con, when all these posters were taken down, I saw one man almost go into the women's bathroom because he was like, oh, it's a gender fluid bathroom. And he looked and he was like, oh no. Thankfully he didn't go in because actually he could have gotten arrested for that. And that's not cool, man. It's not cool for him. You know, I know he didn't intentionally mean to do that. But yeah, I know some people are okay with it. Not everyone is. So even though you're trying to be inclusive, you're also excluding a lot of people. But I know a lot of women who do have young children who want to breastfeed, and maybe they don't want to do it out in public, so they go in the bathroom. But wait, there's gender fluid bathrooms everywhere. So they have to, like, hunt down a bathroom like I did just to feed their baby in peace. Another thing that was kind of really irritating is the fact that the ticketed system for the autographs. Now, it is a good idea. However, I don't like the fact that there were two separate types of tickets. There was a portion of each autograph session tickets that was guaranteed an autograph. And then there were those that were like, maybe you'll get some, maybe not. So that's kind of like really terrible. If you know that a guest can only take so much, then don't give as many tickets out. You know, ask the guests, like, hey, how many tickets would you want? How many people would you want to see? If you want to see a lot, we can do that. If not, then no. Giving it to the guests, you know, that could be, you know, kind of like confusing and all that, especially since you have so many guests. But it could lighten up on people not being able to get their stuff signed. Also, with the VIPs being able to skip in line and all that, that's really cool for the VIPs, but for other people who have waited hours upon hours because first they had to get the tickets and then they actually had to stand in line for the autographs, it can be very annoying to be like, wait, what about us? You know, here are all these VIPs going through, whoop-de-freaking-do, what about us? We had to stand in line. Yeah, they paid enough money, but what about us? Now, I am saying this because a couple of my friends did say it was really irritating. They didn't have the VIP badges. What you might try is to do a VIP-only signing. I don't know if you could do this all at once or what. Usually VIPs go for the entire convention. You would have to coordinate it with all your guests. Like, hey, could we fit you all in a room and have only the VIPs go there and sign? It may be a little hard to coordinate, but it can also lead to people not being so frustrated and irritated that these VIP people are skipping in line. And the last thing that I found really was the 18 plus panels. Not the 18 plus panels themselves, but how one got into the 18 plus panels. So if you're a person who's super excited about stuff and you want to go see something and you don't read this or anything like that, you would never know that you would have to have a wristband. And it didn't matter if you had your ID or not, you still needed a wristband. So here was Friday night. I was going to see if this was true or not, because I heard some rumors about it. It's like, oh, you can't go in unless you have a wristband. So I got my ID. I am 27. And I went and I'm like, okay, here's my ID. Can I get into this one panel? And they, said no. I'm like, but why not? And, they told me about the wristband and all that. And I'm like, I asked where I could get one. And they're like, oh, but it's closed. But I asked them, why is the 18 plus wristband section closed? Why is that table closed if the panels are going on right now? I was told that this was because they were going to limit the people who could get in each and every night because they didn't want an overflow of the rooms. There's a couple problems with this. First, I will say those two people who were working there around 11 p.m. on Friday, you two were awesome. Thank you for respecting me. Thank you. I know you had to turn me away, but thank you anyways. It was really great. I've seen a lot of people who were like, at other cons, they were just mean. But you two, super awesome. Thank you. Now to the con itself, this 18 plus wristband thing doesn't make sense. For one, not all 18 plus panels had to have the wristband. Some of the workshops did not. Now, of course, you signed up for those a different way. For two, on Saturday, I heard that, oh, hey, we only have a certain few. Get your 18 plus wristband now. On Saturday, I heard this. Oh, hey, we only have a few wristbands. Get them right now. Yeah, 18 plus. Just show your ID. Woo! And then later on that night, they were like, oh, yeah, we're going to open it back up for people who didn't get it. But yeah. So I guess they just didn't get enough people that day. Also, I actually went to go get a wristband. I got mine around 11 a.m. on Saturday, about 1 hour after the whole table opened, just in case they ran out. But it was kind of odd. One person had their ID checked with one of those little light pins, where you can tell if it's fake or not. And then mine was just checked by, just someone looking at it and being like, oh, look, there's the date. Cool, you're legal. I'm like, oh, okay. That's kind of cool. Why wasn't mine checked like that? What? So inconsistency with the checking, that doesn't help the whole, let's make sure you're actually legit and legal. Another thing is these wristbands were paper and they hurt. In fact, the guy was about to wrap mine around really, not necessarily tight, but right around my wrist where I couldn't do this, and that actually hurts my wrist. So I did ask him to loosen it a little bit. He did. Really cool guy. But later that day, I went to go take a shower. So I actually had to peel and then cut mine off of me where I could take a shower where it wouldn't get ruined in the shower, and then I would have to go get another one, because that was the whole thing. If something messes up, you would have to go get another one. However, I will say that I was in the Gundam Wing panel right before. The Gundam Wing panel started at 9 p.m. So I was there, I was pumped, I was ready, I loved it all. I came out and then I saw oh wait, they blocked off the area like they did the night before on Friday. Because all the cottonwoods up on the second floor of the Sheraton were solely for 18 plus panels. They blocked off the area. I think blocking off the area is actually really good. However, at that one point in time, I did not have my wristband on. So what did I do? I went into one of the 18 plus panels without a wristband and sat there. It was the Evangelion panel, and I did get a picture of it just to prove that I was in there, but I did not have my wristband on. So there's kind of a loophole. If you can get into one of the other panels that goes on beforehand, because there were teenagers in that other panel, that Gundam Wing panel. Yeah, there were teenagers there. Just saying. You could pretty much slip into any of the 18 plus panels if you wanted to. Like I said, I'm 27, so I'm the plus of the 18 plus. So it wasn't illegal or bad for me to sit in there, but what about people who are 17 or under? Another thing that I heard but did not do myself is that they had lines for said 18 plus panels all the way in the convention center. It's seriously? So I don't know what the deal was to have lines all the way in the con center instead of right in front of the panel rooms like they usually are at every other con. but it was kind of ridiculous. So it's basically you lined up somewhere in the con center, and then someone from the con would grab your line, take you all the way like you were on a field trip because you're 8 years old to go to an 18 plus panel. I don't like that, mainly because it treats 18 plus people, you know, adults, like children. And I did run into a few people who were very exasperated by this. They did not like it at all. I didn't even have to go through it, and I don't like it. You need to treat your adult attendees like adults. We can sit there right in front of the panel room without causing a fuss. And if anyone is causing a fuss, you can politely ask them to leave. That's what security is for. I'm just saying. If you're really worried about too many people being in that one area at one time, just count how many people go in and then be like, oh, sorry, y'all, you have to wait until they go in. They got here first. Sorry. You know, come back in like 10 minutes or something like that. We can't have a lot of people in this area, da-da-da. It might make some people mad, but it's better than, you know, carting them around from one place to the other, for sure. I think I come up with some few ideas that might help Naka Kon in the future, you know, in 2020. So one of the ideas is to keep the wristband thing, but to have it open, not necessarily all day, but maybe even closer to the actual panel times. I also think the cutting off the area, you know, from anyone else was a really good idea. That way you don't have to have people at the doors. You can just let in anyone with an 18 plus wristband / legal ID, and then you can just chill and sit there and do whatever, and then they can come and go as they please. But this does help people who want to take showers in the middle of the day because they're kind of sweaty from all their cosplay to not have to take off their paper wristband. And the whole wristbands are a different color each day thing, I'm pretty sure that was going on. I would keep that. That is a really cool idea. I love it. If someone has a wristband from the other day, you don't necessarily have to check their ID anymore. Just let them have another wristband for that day. Another option you could do is put something on their badge. Now this one is kind of iffy because of course people can just switch badges, but you could have something that, you know, you could still have the same artwork and all that, but just have a black line that says 18 plus or something like that. And then they would show their badge and then show their ID. One thing I would do that if you were going to do that is to have their name on it. Maybe on the back, maybe on the front, who knows. But to have their name printed on or something like that, it would cause, you know, it would be a little bit more work, but in the end, you wouldn't have to have the 18 plus wristband, you know, table right there. So to close this out, there were some really good things, some really things about this con, but it wasn't actually too bad. It was a really cool con. I liked it. I have been deprived of conventions ever since August, which is actually kind of normal because that's the dead season for conventions. There's only very few happening in winter months. But I was so geared up and ready for this con, and I did have a wonderful, fun time. I did drive 3 hours for it, so I was going to have a good time, right? That type of thing. So just to recap, the registration vendor room artist alley was really good. Panels were freaking awesome. I would dial it back on the gender fluid bathrooms and the 18 plus wristband thing. And, you know, maybe you could save some trees while you're at it. You know, I'm just saying. Yeah, just saying. This is kind of cool, but like all of it together and then mushing around trying to figure out when a panel is and where it is, yeah, maybe you can condense it a little bit more. Though I will say I do love this book. Usually everything else I throw away, but this book, oh my goodness. Yes, it is beautiful, and I love it because it's made of that soft material. Well, it's not soft when I do that, but you know, it's made of a good material. Yeah. So between all the good stuff and the stuff and everything in between, and the fact that it was just a really good con, I would give this convention a 6.8 out of 10. It is a con that I do look forward to going back to. I don't know if I can go back to it next year, you know, money and stuff like that. But if I did have the money and the time, I would definitely go back to Naka Kon next year. And so that wraps up this convention review, and I hope you all liked it. I hope you all enjoyed it. If there was anything that you noticed about Naka Kon that was like, woo, or please say something down in the comments. And remember that doing cons, like holding them, is a really big deal. It can be very extensive. There's so many little parts. There's so many people you have to think of, not just the, you know, guests, but the volunteers, the attendees, the, you know, people you're running for, all of that. So to the people who run Naka Kon, thank you for doing your best and trying really hard to please everyone at the same time. And I hope this review helped you just as much as it hopefully entertained a lot of other people. And to everyone out there watching, I will see you in a while, crocodiles. Bye-bye! Yeah, oh, it shows the bus stops because they had a shuttle going, which is still cool, still awesome.